Yes, dear friends, here we are. 40 nights with the Promised Consoler. We are here on night number 9, and this is about the final supplication, chapter 20, from the book Pontos e Contos, which is not yet in English. Yes, hello, dear Lea Severo. We didn't make it to recording today. Several things happened, so we're here committed to you live and to make sure that we don't miss our commitment of the heart. Okay? So here we are. This is night 9, and it's our journey in this beautiful getting to know of ourselves while being guided by the Master. Only the Promised Consoler can really guide us to new habits. Shall we? Yes. Hello, Rihanna and Sunshine and Felipe. For those who are entering now, we are live today. Yes, we are. And remember, we are also at Kardec Radio. We have the app, making it easier for you wherever you are in the world. Hello, Rosemary. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Cesar. Yeah, it's great to be here, friends. It's great to be here, and I tell you, it's fascinating because the loving spirits, they don't miss this opportunity to guide us all. And let's not forget that we're living at a time that is so peculiar. We're awakening our consciences, right? And this message today talks about this very, very issue. Like any and each one of us, we are here working, but sometimes we get lost. What do I do to actually fulfill my role in this life and on this earth and in the universe? Right? Do you have such questions? I think majority of us, when we are attempting to become awake, we actually do it. These texts, for those who are entering here firsthand, they were psychographed by the medium Chico Xavier. And the spirit author is Humberto de Campos, or Brother X. What is interesting is that he published several articles about Jesus and his guidance when he was incarnated, when he was discarnated, during his mission on the earth at both dimensions, let's say this way. And these are unprecedented accounts. These are not tales. These are actually accounts that are brought to us to teach us. So tonight, we're going to immerse ourselves in this beautiful chapter 20th, titled The Final Supplication. I think when we hear the story, you're going to find a little bit of yourself there. Very likely. Shall we? Yes, let me say hi to Danny and Erica. Hello, friends. And Katya and Ale. How are you, my friend? So, shall we? Let us be permeable. Permeability is about openness. Being open is everything. We're not here to dispute knowledge for knowledge. No, we're not here as scholars of the history of the gospel, the texts. We leave that to the experts. We're here to help one another facilitate the ultimate journey, which is the inner journey. Of all things, this is what we need to do. Right? Hello, Marcela. The final supplication. Convinced that the Master distributes the graces according to the requests of the disciples, the earnest and sincere believer, keenly interested in perfect integration with the Lord, asked the Master for money, claiming the necessity of material resources to attend to his designs. Hearing the prayer, the Savior mobilized the emissaries to satisfy him. How many of us are just like this earnest and sincere believer. We believe in the spiritual life, Christ consciousness, but then we think we're gonna serve the Lord better when we have money, right? Just like that man who came to Chico Xavier's center and said, Chico, pray for me because I'm playing the lottery, and when I win it, I'm gonna give a share of it to your church, to your center. And Chico smiled, not expecting anything, but knowing that life is not like that. But one day this man actually won the lottery, and the next day he was elsewhere. He moved to another place. One day he actually came across Chico Xavier, but he pretended he didn't, needed to fulfill his promise. Chico didn't care about it because he knows it's beyond just the money. And what is interesting here is that one day this man discarnated, and Chico in a mediumistic meeting saw him, and he came. He said, Chico, please help me. And he said, sure, my friend, how can I help you? He said, my money, people are keeping it, and it's my money. He said, no, it's not your money any longer. It belongs to others. It has never been your money. How many of us are just like this man? Today we're reading and pausing because the text is not too long, but a little bit longer and very dense in many aspects. So, first request was money. What happened to him? Hearing the prayer, the Savior mobilized emissaries to satisfy him. Soon the fortune came to meet the apprentice, filling the coffers and honoring the house. But the believer's worries were multiplied, and grave displeasure arose. Far from elevating himself to higher spirituality, he spent days and nights guarding the income and the revenue of the gold, itemizing the increasing deposits. Distracted from the most humble obligations, the believer lost the company of his wife and his children, torn from the home by the fascination of easy living. Isn't that what's happening nowadays? Many people have enough to be distracted, not to be present in their families, not to be dedicated to their environment, and not even smelling the flowers, right? How many of us are like that? We need to think about it. What happened next? The believer prostrated himself in prayer and begged Jesus for another thing, authority, assuring that he was waiting for such advantage in order to follow the Master. The Lord received the supplication and sent messengers who would guarantee the desired acquisition. Almost immediately, the disciple was guided to a noble administrative position. However, due to his inexperience, he soon found himself hated and misunderstood. Unable to bear slander and criticism, unreasonable observations and scathing warnings from subalterns and superiors, he moved vast material assets. However, it did not correspond to the imperatives of the Spirit. Stunned and disenchanted, he returned to prayer and implored Jesus to bestow on him something else. But let's put a pause. Authority. First, he asked for money. Then he was super busy, not able actually to cherish his spirituality. Then he begged for authority. Then, because of his lack of experience, he didn't know how to manage. It's natural that when you are an administrator, people are going to like and dislike you. It's inevitable. But what do you do with slander, the inevitable slander and criticism? And many people at home with their children, they don't know how to handle it. Or family gatherings, or communities, even spiritist centers. Some people say, I'm not able to be the president of a center because people say stuff, they don't understand me. But that's the nature of life. What else would you expect? that people won't understand us if they don't even understand Jesus, the governor. So we need to release that expectation, right? Release it. When we get a little bit more experience with administration, we'll be able to see that that's natural. People don't understand. And it's between them and God, not between us and them. Does it make you feel better? That exercise, I release all sense of control. Tell yourself, when you feel anguish because people don't understand you, when people criticize you, when they're slandering, bad-mouthing you, don't anguish yourself. Release it. Mentor Joseph told me the other day, Vanessa, release it. Read it and now say, I release all sense of control. God is in control. I'm not in control. God is in control. I don't need to control anything and anyone. I give free will to people because God the Almighty gives everyone free will. Who am I not to give people free will, right? That's an insight. In the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, in the third part of it, there is a law titled The Law of Justice, Love, and Charity. When Kardec asked the illuminated spirits, what is the definition of justice according to the Spiritist science? The answer is to respect everyone's rights. I think that's one of the hardest things we can actually achieve, because it's probably a new acquisition for us. For many lives, we've been stumbling and manipulating people, so we feel secure being loved and appreciated by others. And sometimes we manipulate in so many different ways. But we need to be careful, because Jesus, the governor of our planet, the master and the model, the guide, never ever manipulated anyone. Never distressed himself because people couldn't understand him. And to date, billions of people on this earth are not aware of him. Not consciously. They're not aware consciously when they are here in the physical body. And he doesn't manipulate. So release the sense of control is very important. I release it. I release it. Right? Sunshine is sharing. Release all control is my daily harsh practice with my 18, 20-year-old. My friend, you teach me that. Okay? I bet it's one of the hardest when you love somebody and you learn to let them make their choices. Right? And one of the tips for us as parents is always reminding ourselves that they have protecting spirits that are caring for them more than we imagine, and they know everything that is going on, and in them, in that partnership with their guardian angels, we'll feel more easily the pathway to letting go. Right, Rudy? Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Yeah, Frozen, Elsa from Frozen the movie. It's a good song for us. It's a good reminder. Let it go. Let go of this sense of I have to control. I have to understand. I have to manipulate. People need to love me. I need to explain myself. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Right? Let it go. We don't need it anymore. It's been many lives. We've been there, done that. Now it doesn't serve any purpose. Right. Hello, Julia. What an honor, my friend. What an honor. And Sunshine, prayer always. Watch and pray. Remember, there's even a song. When Jesus said, stay with me, remain here with me, watch and pray. but they didn't do it. Right? They didn't do it. And I'm happy to see you too, Patricia. The pre-recorded video didn't work. The live is the better. Anyhow, hello, Freddy. You see, the song brought Freddy in. Bring him in. All right. So first, the believer, sincere and earnest, he asked for money. Through money, he didn't get there. Second, authority. Didn't know what to do. Started tweeting and blaming everyone like somebody we know. Didn't work either. So then he felt stunned and disenchanted. He returned to prayer and implored Jesus to bestow on him wonderful gifts, assuring that only this way could he serve Jesus. Wonderful gifts like mediumship? Aha! How many people are asking the same thing? And what did the divine donor do? Humberto de Campos describes that the divine donor noted the request and recommended his advisors to entrust him with the power of healing. The ultimate wonderful gift, huh? What happened next? The apprentice received the gift and surrendered to work. Within a few days, huge rows of needy people were knocking on his door. Popularity absorbed his hours. Time was scarce, even to feed himself. Without preparation for the delicate service, in the course of a few months, he declared himself bankrupt. He lacked strength for the ministry. Before the multitude of the suffering and the ignorant, the remaining family members left the domestic environment, and the poor man, for his part, could not deal with the desperate souls. When he couldn't attend to somebody, after having rescued dozens of afflicted people, he felt heaped with accusations that he was unable to accept with serenity. Thus, he was subjected to absolute exhaustion. He was out of control. He disowned himself of the gift that heaven had lent him. However, because faith still vibrated within him, he returned to the petition with sincerity and renewed his plea. Pause for a second before the next supplication. So he asked for mediumistic abilities. He was given the mediumship of healing. I think this is one of the mediumistic abilities that people ask for the most, and they don't know what they're asking for. He says clearly here, no preparation for the delicate service. It's a delicate service. You're working with energies. And we can barely cook in the kitchen. What about healing? Right? We can barely buy remedy for people sometimes in our home who are in need of something. What about giving them extra energy? Delicate service that needs preparation, multi-dimensional preparation, right? It's not a given. Many people are dazzled about John of God. Well, no wonder. But I tell you this, his life's not easy. Don't ask for that life because it's not simple. Many people ask for lots of people in their spiritist centers. They don't know either what they're asking for. Each and every person that comes to our center needs one-on-one attention. And for that matter, we need prepared people. And it takes time. It's not about taking courses, instruction. It's about preparation also in the heart. And he couldn't do it. Plus, your family may not withstand with you. What are you going to do? You're going to give up? So it's like the math. In the math of life, there are many components. So we need to understand. He asked for money. He asked for authority. He asked for mediumship. What is he going to ask now? He believed in Jesus. He believed in God and life in itself. So in tears, he begged for poverty and obscurity. How many people say that without noticing? They say, I don't want any money. You're asking for poverty when you say that. No, Vanessa. No, you are. When you say, I don't want any money, you mean, I want to be poor. So then, are you ready for it? Because there are consequences too. I don't want fame. You don't? Okay, so let's see. If you are asking for this, sometimes we don't realize that what we're asking is exactly this. I don't want any money. You mean you want poverty? Because there is no richness without money. I mean, materially speaking. And when you ask, I don't want any fame, you're saying, I want to be anonymous, obscure, not recognized in a way. That's what you're asking for. Are you ready? He wanted to get rid of all ties with land tenure. He would be an anonymous worker. Many people are asking for this. I want to be anonymous. He would be bound to providence through the unknown effort. By registering the requests, the master sent suitable candidates to the situation. The disciple was led to penury. His resources were exhausted. Sickness visited him insistently. His business was ruined. Friends fled and creditors appeared. Is that your life? Oh my God. Did you ask for it? Maybe you didn't realize. Huh? We need to go back and say, am I affirming those things? Mamma mia. We need to revisit it. This is an inner journey conversation that we're having here. Alone. Oh, let's observe the results. Alone. Helpless. He was equally unfit for that kind of trial. Sarcasm and mockery rained down the road. He was pointed to the account of improvident and prodigal, without responsibility for his very existence. Without success, he tried to collaborate in uplifting works. Even there he found some laughter from some of his companions. No one trusted him. In other people's eyes, it was relaxed and dissipating. The miser verified that impatience and revolt were frequent visitors in his heart. Impatience and rebelliousness, like revolt. He was surprised himself sometimes, angry and unhappy, rehearsing reactions. Before we read the final part of the text, let us ask ourselves, friends, if we're saying to us repeatedly, I don't want any money, I don't want fame, I don't want people to think that you're asking for this. So if it happens, don't be surprised. Why? Because till now, this believer, like us, he was seeking, he sought for things. He was given. He asked, he was given. He knocked, the door was open. Isn't that the law of life? You think, and it unfolds. You feel, and a cascade of events happen. So we need to ask ourselves, what are we asking of life? What are we asking? We need to observe what it is, because this man was asking for obscurity and he couldn't face the trial. Even obscurity is a blow in our ego. Money, authority, mediumship. Vanessa, what do we do then? Good question. Relieved, however, by the sublime clarity of faith. Remember, this is an earnest and sincere believer, by the definition of Humberto de Campos. He proclaimed the inability to endure absolute poverty, and genuflected. He implored the Lord. Let us listen to what his final supplication is. Master beloved, I know that you open the door to me every time I strike confident, but in truth, I ignore the essence of my own desires. I now acknowledge that you distribute riches, power, and glory of your gifts according to the merits and needs of the apprentices. You do not give the external shortage to the one who does not know how to use it for the good. Nor do you entrust your gifts to those who do not know how to transport them among ungrateful and cruel human beings. You know the position of each of us, and you measure with wisdom the extent of our possibilities. You do not confer the benefit of the tear to the hardened heart, as you do not leave the scepter of the direction in the frivolous or awkward hands for long. You do not grant absolute poverty to those who do not know how to take advantage of suffering, as you do not allow wealth to linger in the dwelling of fools. Lord, mute the requests of my ignorance. Do not allow me to beg you for situations I do not know. Modify my will so that my desires agree with your designs. Until today, I have been blind. Do not deny me with your mercy. Make me see. The Master, observe, his supplication is, mute the requests of my ignorance. So if you and I are asking right now, what do I do? What do I ask for? When Jesus said, seek and you find, ask and you'll be given, knock and it's going to be open. Which door do you knock on, right? He says, mute the requests of my ignorance. Do not allow me to beg you for situations I do not know. Modify my will so that my desires agree with your designs. So what are we going to ask? For synchronicity with the will of God. That's why we need to teach our kids from the get-go. But we need to learn ourselves first. The will of God. The will of God. They need to listen to this, that the will of God exists. But they don't understand. It doesn't matter. Record it. Record button. The will of God. Right? And you make up stories. The other day I made up a story about a banana with Virginia to teach her about patience. You make up stories. Yeah, we have creativity. Remember, it's in our mind. But let us use it, because we can, my friends, modify our will. Haven't you already changed from when you started this journey already? Yeah, we do change. Thank God. And God willing, and God does will that we change and progress evermore, we ask for synchronicity. Sinking in, and I don't need to figure out, I just surrender. And does Jesus listen? The Does God listen? Here we go. The master listened to the prayer, but this time he did not send the emissaries. He did not send emissaries for indirect collaboration. He came himself to the inner sanctuary of the apprentice. And this has nothing to do with Donald Trump or Schwarzenegger in The Apprentice. By the way, this is between us apprentices and Jesus. In tears, the disciple felt then that somebody talked to the inner soul. It was not a voice like the voices he had heard in the world. It was a divine breath, born of the mysterious crypt of the heart, renewing his whole being. Enraptured and happy, he recognized the presence of the Lord who spoke to the awakened conscience. Jesus telling him, from now on, it will abide in me as I abide in you, will be united forever. This believer is finally awakened. And once we are, we're united with Christ forever. What a feeling, right? And as Fred is kindly sharing with us, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Finally. What a joy to be together, huh? Teamwork. High five, Fred. Boom. Right? Yes. Hello, McCarthy Claire and Duska. Thank you for your kindness, Felipe. And friends, what is the main question for us here? Are we finally awakened, not in the flesh, but in our conscience? Or are we still like this earnest believer that believed in everything, but was still asking for a little more money, a little more authority, a little more wonderful gifts? And when they didn't work, oh, please don't give me any money, don't give me any fame. Are we still stumbling in those avenues? Because Humberto de Campos is bringing to us our own profile of the one who really loves Jesus, but needs to synchronize with the Sacred Heart. You know where the button is? Right here. Press the button. Sinking in. Let us allow ourselves to sink in with the Christ. And what do we need to do? Just tell him, please modify my will so that my desires agree with your designs. Modify my will. I don't want anything any longer. I want what you want. And, right? Yes. The Lord is my shepherd. Right? And once that happens, I'm in synchronicity. I surrender. When we read Emmanuel's novels, Paul and Stephen and Abigail are in synchronicity with the Lord. And Celia, Livia, we see many other characters who are in that synchronicity already. And people in our society don't understand it, because they understand when you're synchronized with your will. When your life is manifesting this temporary will of ours, and God allows it. Let us observe that the believer requested, and it was given. But we are learning now that this is not our pathway any longer. How many reincarnations have we done it? Many. This is the one. Probably the first. I'm not going to say for you, maybe for me. The first, that I am learning to synchronize, to modify my will with the will, the designs of God. Shall we? Yes? Because Jesus is passing by? Well, if he's passing by, let's take the ride. Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by. And when he comes, everything is fine. Sadness is gone and happiness arrives. And when he comes, everything is fine. Sadness is gone and happiness arrives. Jesus is passing by. He is modifying my will. And I make my will be in synchronicity with his. And life will become much better. And he's going to say, we'll be united forever. Let us hear the echo and listen to Jesus saying to us, we'll be united forever. We'll be united forever. We'll be united forever. It's about feeling the scriptures more than knowing. Feeling the scriptures. You and I are invited to synchronize our hearts by surrendering every form of control, letting go, and allowing Jesus to modify our will to make his designs be ours. When we come back tomorrow, God willing, we'll be studying chapter, and if I'm not mistaken, let me just make sure that I say it right to you. It's chapter 22 of the book Pontos e Contos. But if you don't have the Portuguese version, you don't speak Portuguese, don't worry. We're speaking in English for you. We're making these translations for you. So, enjoy and share. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Marilda. Thank you, friends. Let us rejoice, modify our will to the designs of the Lord of life. Sinking in, and until tomorrow.